Okay, so yeah, so I had this haircut today. I got a haircut appointment. I signed on at like 3 for a 5 o'clock cut, and that worked for me. So I went and saw Veronica at Rough Cut, and she was getting ready to leave, and she very graciously agreed to do my coif. So I got to work my pitch with her. So I'm going to try to deliver that to you right now. All right, yeah. So, so the question that prompted it was, so what are you doing? How's your summer going? So how are you doing? Kind of more in general with regard to COVID. So yeah, so it's going pretty good. I'm really pretty fortunate. I'm so lucky that I get to continue my work from. Oops, I get to continue my work from home. I get to do telehealth, and ah, and I reminded her that I do I do this kind of therapy for PTSD, and it's really fast and doesn't really require a lot of talking, and people kind of just get better pretty quick when they come. And every now and then I get to be somebody's miracle therapist, and that's pretty fun when that happens. Like, oh wow, what is this thing? So it feels pretty good when I can do that for somebody. So it's just it's a kind of a therapy that just really works at changing the feelings that you have about things that happen to you in your life. So it works at changing how you react, how your body responds or reacts, and it does it by having you basically desensitize to those memories and then have you rescript new memories, which is really just new images that replace the old images. Because every time you run into that trigger, you think about that experience, your brain goes, oh my gosh, I remember that. That was awful. That was terrible. Oh, it's like, ah. But when we do the work in the office, and the next time your brain runs across it, your brain goes, oh, hey, I know what that is. I've seen that before. That's not any big deal. And you just move along. And it's pretty cool that way. So, so the idea is that there isn't a whole lot of talking that's involved, and it really targets this really important, deep, serious stuff that really makes people hurt for a really long time. Um, I use the metaphor of a house. Bad stuff comes to us, and there's this podcast called Terrible. Thanks for asking, which is a great podcast, and she's got topics about being an adult and dealing with adult issues. And one of the shows, she's talking about this professional mommy who winds up becoming alcohol abuser, and she's got her mommy juice, and that's how she takes care of herself. And as the host is telling the story, she comes to the end, and says, we all have our stuff. We all have our stuff. And it's not fair. And we are the ones to take care of it. Absolutely. And so that is just like getting a house. And you really didn't pay enough for your inspector. And you wind up getting a house that has all these problems. The roof is falling apart, or the foundation is cracking, or whatever it is. It's not fair, but it's your house. This is a great metaphor that she wanted to run off and tell me about her house and home repair woes. And I corrected her and I said, no, wait, this is literally a metaphor. This is literally a metaphor. So let's stay with it. And she laughed. I said, okay. And so it's a house, and it makes total sense. And and Uh, Caste, The Origin of Our Discontents book, makes that case early on. Ivana Wilkerson, I'm not remembering her name for some reason, but anyhow, Caste, The Origin of Our Discontents. And she talks about this house that we have that's really our institutionalized uh, caste system we have in our country. It's not racism, it's a caste system. And you look at how attached we are to it, and you look at the Republican GOP political platform, and it's all around we don't need to be afraid of those people. They're or whatever ridiculous things. I need a better reference for that, but you get the idea. So there is this house that we inherit, and we have to take care of it. And so we wind up with our thing that we have to deal with. If it's trauma, triggering, anger, alcoholism, whatever it is, it's yours. It doesn't matter how you feel about how you got it, and it's yours. And so once you realize that, then your problems are about 80% solved. So, so, so Veronica appreciated hearing about that. And what else am I looking at? Oh yeah, the therapy. Yeah, I kept making pitches for the therapy. Yeah, you should talk to this guy. Yeah, it's honestly, it's like chair massage for your brain. It's like, yeah, it's not like any kind of therapy, like where you go and you talk and you wonder something is going to happen and maybe something happens, or you have an aha moment and it feels good for a while, or you're told to, like, practice stuff, talk differently to yourself, or start labeling that's catastrophic thinking, and these things, or practice mindfulness. And really, you might have your periods of lucidity, but nothing really seems to stick with this. So I mean, that's been my experience with therapy. And I think people who are serial clients, or people who have gone to therapy a lot, have had to do so because they haven't gotten the right kind of therapy. So cognitive therapy is good for what comes out of the upper part of your brain, the part that's up here. This part's great, but it's not addressing the part down here, which is the emotional brain. And so that's the piece that is really missing in cognitive therapy, and I would argue even in mindfulness-based therapy. You have to be aware of how your fear-based brain is reacting and how it's making your body feel, and how can you learn to handle that instead of being overwhelmed by it. And you're not going to learn to handle it any more than you will learn to ride a unicycle by reading about it or even watching videos. So you have to get in there and do it. And so that's what we do with guided imagery and eye movements. It really allows the brain to get in there and do it. And we use things like metaphors, which are metaphors, and the metaphors bring in mastery and power or being seen or whatever it is that needed to be brought in. And so that those metaphors and imagery and just very simple re-scripting even bring in these feelings of ease, comfort, and confidence. And with this memory technique, it absolutely works. It absolutely works. So it works with the way your brain works. Your brain has the ability to update information if it's presented in the right way. And we all know the way that you overcome fear is by facing it and experiencing it and then learning, oh, well, that wasn't so bad. Doing that job interview or doing that, probably more like skydiving or, skiing the diamond slope for the first time, stuff like that. Job interviews and stuff like that goes a little bit deeper. So for our purposes, it would be something like, a physical challenge that you didn't think you could get past. It seems that once people get past a physical challenge, their brain adjusts, and then they have that feeling of confidence in tackling that. So we're doing this in the office. We are having you run through images in your head. I'm giving you suggestions, and it's coaching, and you're using your own ideas, and we're working with the way that your brain works. So we're being aware of sensations and physical activation. We're really looking at helping you to review your cues or triggers or difficult memories in a relaxed state. The eye movements help that. The eye movements help by reducing the emotional volatility of these memories you've been carrying around with you through your whole life. So you wind up feeling differently, as I said. You wind up feeling differently about these experiences or these triggers. And so I tell people really the most pronounced thing that they'll notice in a session is that they are not having the kind of reactivity that they're accustomed to having. And that can be a really wonderful experience. Like, whoa. Or it might even be an experience that maybe you like take for granted and maybe not notice in the moment, but you notice afterward. So really what we're doing is we are rewiring neural connections in the brain. It takes time, it unfolds over the course of the session. If you could see a scan of how the cells, the neurons work and create connection, it does happen in real time. And it's kind of like watching a flower bloom in a time-lapse photography, but it's really the live connections that occur. And you can see a video of that in the NOVA program, Memory Hackers. So in Memory Hackers, they reference some studies in the 2000s where they're looking at the brain cells, the neurons of slugs, because they're so easy to look at. And then they can, like, trick them into learning stuff or something, and then watch the neurons grow new connections in real time. And so if you think about it, we live in that real time all the time in terms of our brain catching up with us. Like, we go into a room and we forget what we were going after. And the best way to remember or have it come back to you is to relax by leaving the room and then walking back into the room. You'll be cued by walking back into the room and you will have given your brain time to settle down and make those connections once again to that memory. So I think that's about it. That's what I wanted to be able to say. And I am really excited about this work that I'm doing. And I'm trying to get other people excited. So if you're excited, let me know. Tell me how you might want to get other people excited by this. And let's get people help that really works and is fast and just takes care of business. So my name's Dave Ebaugh, and my website is traumafocusedtherapy.com. And do the things that you do to like and share and let people know maybe this guy's interesting. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll be back again with more pearls of wisdom. Wonderful. Thank you.